you, or just for you.
And
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to have everyone here tonight, right? Because chiropractic is my main niche in life, but I've got a sub-niche, and my sub-niche is nutrition. And if you're here tonight, you share that same sub-niche with me. You're interested in nutrition and supplements, and for that, I'm grateful to share my evening with people that enjoy what I enjoy, so thank you. I'm grateful because when you almost lose everything, you've got two choices. You can become cynical, or you can become grateful about what you didn't lose and what you have. And I'm grateful for my patients. I'm grateful for my team, Heather, Amanda, and Dr. Francis. And I'm grateful to be here tonight to hopefully improve your lives. And I like to talk from real life experiences, because I feel real life experiences, they're not just blowing smoke. I can talk to you from my heart, and I can tell you exactly what things went on in my life and how I've improved my life, and I can get you to do the same things. I know it will work. So let's start with a story tonight. Let's start with a story. It's about 2.5 weeks ago on a Sunday, and I've got a friend of mine who's a patient. He was a patient first, and obviously all of you turn into friends as well, right? We're like a big family. We've got patients moving tables and moving things around, setting up, so thank you for that. So about 2.5 weeks ago, I said, Mike, it's time that I go to the cemetery, and I take you to the cemetery, because about a year ago we lost Mike's wife. She was a patient in the practice for 5 years, and we lost her. And one thing that I said to his wife, who was laying in bed unconscious, was, I will now take care of Mike for you. So about 2.5 weeks ago, it's a Sunday, we drive up to the cemetery. We get to the cemetery, spend some time there, and we're driving home. And Mike says something to me, it's dead quiet, he says something to me, and I said, wow, that makes a lot of sense. I now have something I can use in my talk. Mike looks at me and says, the purpose of life is to live a great life and then go to heaven. And I thought about that. Wow, the purpose of life is to live a great life and then go to heaven. And I started thinking about that, and I said, it's kind of funny. I've done a lot of seminars over the years, chiropractic seminars, and my team here, they've yet to do really any, and I'm about to start taking them in the fall, and they're going to start hearing the same thing out of chiropractic seminars. We like to go to seminars, we like to get fired up as chiropractors, and then we like to say this slogan: we as chiropractors save lives. And I thought about that, and I said, save lives? I'm not an emergency room doctor. I don't save lives on a daily basis. I'm not a lifeguard. I don't save lives. So really, I never resonated with, I like to save lives. And I said, that doesn't make sense to me. And then it hit me. When Mike said, the purpose of life is to live a great life and go to heaven, it hit me. My purpose is to help people improve their quality of life while they're on earth, and then they choose whether or not they want to be saved and go to heaven, right? That's not my choice. But my choice is, I can wake up every day, as another patient says, it's either an alarm clock or an opportunity clock. Wake up every day and help a person live a better quality of life, because on this earth, you only get one life, and you will choose whether or not it is a great quality of life or a poor quality of life. At the end, you'll choose if you want to be saved or not. And the number one cause of poor quality of life is chronic disease and chronic illness, right? Somebody name me a couple chronic illnesses and a couple chronic diseases. Well, someone name me some. Depression, diabetes. Headaches, chronic headaches.
blood clots.
Blood clots, blood disorders. High blood pressure, diabetes, cancer. High blood pressure, heart disease, lung problems, cholesterol problems. These are all things that are plaguing people today. Degenerative diseases of the bone, right? Degenerative diseases of the bone. High blood pressure, overweight, diabetes, cancer, heart disease. These are all chronic diseases that are crippling America. Americans are on more medication today than they ever have been, and yet we're ranked dead last as far as health is concerned out of 37 industrialized countries. So all of these chronic diseases are causing poor quality of life. So if one of my missions, one of my purposes in life is to help people improve their quality of life, well then it's one of my missions to help improve these chronic diseases, which can be reversed. So here's the interesting thing. I want you to remember this. All of these chronic diseases that we just spoke about, all of them have four things in common. all the diseases we just spoke about have 4 things in common. I want to share that with you. I want you to remember something. Human beings, here are the 4 things that these diseases have in common. Human beings have 2 eyes with an E, yet chronic disease has 4 eyes with the letter I. Here's what I mean by that. Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, weight gain, they all start with the letter I. 4 things that cause these chronic diseases. And if we can prevent these 4 things from occurring and we can get rid of these 4 things, it doesn't matter what you have, we can help your body improve, we can improve your quality of life, and then at the end you decide if you want to go to heaven or not, right? So here are the 4 I's. The first one is irritation, right? Irritation. I don't mean your wife, your husband, or your kids. What I mean is irritation to the nervous system. And we're not going to get into that in depth tonight because that's for a Wednesday night lecture when we talk about chiropractic. But irritation to the nerves, the red and blue, irritation to the nerves will block the signals from the brain to the body, and the body won't receive the power it needs to heal. So the first one is irritation. We're going to put that one on the side. I just wanted to tell you that irritation to the nervous system leads to chronic disease. Now the next 2 will lead into the 4th one, and the 4th one is the biggie. Insulin. That's number 2. So irritation, insulin. Okay. Intoxication, right? Intoxication. I don't mean going and getting drunk. I mean intoxicated cells. On the outside and on the inside of that cell, if it's intoxicated, that's going to lead to chronic disease. And then irritation, insulin, and intoxication leads to the last major I, which is the major one that causes chronic disease, called inflammation. So inflammation is the biggie, and the first 3 lead into this 4th one called inflammation. So here's the cool thing. We don't need to say, hey, take a heart pill, take an arthritis pill, take this pill, take that pill. That's called mechanistic thinking. Does everyone remember last time we talked what mechanistic thinking was? So I'm going to share that with you real quick for those of you who are not here, okay? There's 2 types of living. There's holistic living, which is the title of the workshop. That's how we've been living for 15 years. And holistic living says that the parts, if messed up, can cause a problem with the whole. And if the whole is screwed up, we should look at each part because each part relates to one another. Mechanistic living says, well, if my gallbladder has gallstones in it, take the gallbladder out. It doesn't say, how did the gallstones get there? What would happen if we take the gallbladder out? Why are the gallstones forming? How do we prevent the gallstones? So that's mechanistic living. See, with chronic disease, mechanistic living says, if I've got heart problems, take heart pills. If I've got degenerative arthritis, take degenerative arthritis. And what I'm saying is, if we can correct the 4, we don't need to break down and take separate pills for everything, because tonight I'm going to share with you some simple supplements across the board that have taken, if you have these problems, and if you don't want to prevent them, that if you take these things, these simple supplements that we've been doing for years, you'll have a great quality of life. So let's talk about what is inflammation. Easiest thing I can come up with is inflammation is like fire, right? Give you an example. I can hold a can of gasoline up at the front right here, right? Is there any danger?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, right? I can hold gasoline up here, and that doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be danger, right? But if I walked around with a match and some fire, we're going to have some danger?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Right, so you need fire in order to have gasoline explode, then there's a problem. But if gasoline is just sitting around and there's no fire, there's no explosion, right? Well, do you know you could have a 500 cholesterol level and be at no risk for heart disease? Right? So here it is. Inflammation is the fire that will take cells that are intoxicated with toxins, that will take cholesterol, that will take these cells, take this cholesterol, burn them down, causing the plaque, causing the sick and unhealthy cells, forming cancer, arthritis, forming heart disease, forming high blood pressure. If we have irritation, intoxication, if we have insulin levels out of control, it leads to inflammation. What do we mean by insulin levels? So everyone's heard this thing, insulin, right? Diabetes and insulin, right? You go, well, I'm not a type 1 diabetic, I don't need insulin, so why are we talking about insulin? Well, because what we found through the American diet, okay, what we drink, the high fructose corn syrup, the sugar, through the American diet, more and more people are having insulin resistance problems. Meaning, here it is, We put something in our mouth that has high fructose corn syrup in it. We don't even know it because it's being hidden in the packaging. All of a sudden, our blood sugar level spikes up. Our adrenal glands produce something called cortisol. Cortisol shoots the insulin levels down, and great, we're okay, everything's great. But what happens if we chronically and consistently put this sugary product in our diet, plus 10 or 12 other things that we don't know? Insulin levels constantly are rising, constantly causing cortisol levels to go up. Cortisol levels constantly go up, and excess cortisol, due to excess insulin intake, will lead to obesity, weight gain, and inflammation. So we can see if we have insulin levels on the rise because of what we eat and drink, and if we don't pay attention, if we don't read every label, that's just what it is today's society. If we don't read every label, they're probably filling you with tons of sugar and additives that will spike your insulin levels, ultimately spiking your cortisol levels, ultimately leading to inflammation. What about this intoxication thing, right? We talked heavily about this about a year ago, and those of you who came to our weight loss workshops and things like that, we talked heavily about this. Intracellular, that means within the cell, and just outside the cell, the body in today's day and age is becoming polluted with toxins. How? Well, unfortunately, the air out there is becoming way polluted. Unfortunately, again, the foods we eat, the things we drink, things you don't even realize, like the aerosol spray cans. If you just look up, you'll see lines of airplane dust. That's chemical toxicity. So the water you drink, the antibiotics, all of it is toxic, and there's just nothing you can absolutely eventually do about it. So you're going to get polluted. Ladies and gentlemen, as healthy as I eat, as much as I work out, as much as I take the supplements I take, the reason I still do the things I do is because I will even be invaded with toxins. Right? It gets into the body through your skin, your nose, your lungs, your food gets into your body, and then gets assimilated into a majority of your fat cells. And your fat cells will get bigger and bigger because they are what's attracting the chemicals in the body and the toxins. And if we can't get those toxins out, well, the fat cells get heavier and heavier until finally it leads to obesity, leading to chronic illness at that point. So do you see how the 3 I's, okay, can cause chronic illness? The 3 I's can cause chronic illness. If we can just get those 3 I's under control, without having to say if it's heart, take this, if it's cancer, take this, if we can just get the 3 I's under control, then I can help you live a better quality of life. And if I can help you live a better quality of life, then I've done my job. I feel I've fulfilled my purpose, right? So let's talk about some of these simple supplements. Let's talk about some of these simple supplements and what they do for you and how they work and why we take them. Okay, so there's a couple different supplements up here, and we want to start with something we call fish oils. Okay, omega-3 fish oils. Everyone's heard of them, right? Yeah. Omega-3 fish oils. There's omega-3s, omega-6, omega-9s. So we like to use, and we carry, and we take a product, myself, my kids, my dog, spritz it in the dog's bowl, right? Why? Because omega-3s are a #1 way to prevent inflammation in the body, okay? Without getting too technical, it's got a special product that shuts off the switch that says body make inflammation, okay? I don't want to get technical into biochemistry. The big word is called eicosanoids. We'll leave it at that. Let's just say the major thing that omega-3 fish oils do is they walk over and they flip the switch and say, the cell could go this way into inflammation if turned on, or could go this way into non-inflammation. It comes over and flips the switch down. Okay, that's the main thing that fish oils do in the body, is it prevents inflammation. Every cell coating is made of this good fat. Your brain is made up of this good fat. So if you want to be smarter, who wants to be smarter, raise your hand.
Eat away up.
If you want to be smarter,
Take omega.
this one's a gift for you. No, I'm just kidding. Take omega-3s, because not only will it help develop your brain, your brains, your kids' brains, your animals' brains, but also helps develop the immune system, which is very important to prevent inflammation. One of the major things that fish oils do, it helps balance out your cholesterol. You know how I said you can have a total of 500 cholesterol and be at no risk for heart disease whatsoever, as long as your inflammation levels are low? As long as your counts are balanced, your good cholesterol is good, your bad cholesterol is balanced, it doesn't matter. And one of the main things that fish oil does, unlike Lipitor and all the cholesterol lowering medication, is it doesn't lower your cholesterol. Why would I want to lower your cholesterol? Why would I want to do that? All of your hormones are made of cholesterol. So if you want to prevent inflammation, you want good cholesterol. If you want to create hormonal balance in the body, you want good cholesterol because all of your hormones are made up of good fat and cholesterol. So have you noticed, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but hey, I just had a baby 4 months ago, so it took my wife 2.5 years to convince me. So in the 2.5 years,
Marvelous.
in the 2.5 years it took her to convince me, all of a sudden you start noticing, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but infertility clinics all over the place. Huge business. I had a patient in the office who went for infertility treatments 13 times, over $500,000 worth of infertility. They are all over the place and they are growing bigger. Why? Well, the more cholesterol lowering medication you take, the more you're killing your sex hormones, testosterone, progesterone, and estrogen. And the more you kill those